Richards. I'm here with Dr. Amy for another edition of the Doctor and the DJ podcast. The first time we have ever been remote with our podcast, I think anyway, here at the Doctor and the DJ. We are in Palm Springs right now. We actually have an audience for the first time as well. I won't turn the camera on, but please cheer like there's 100 of you. There you go. Oh my God, it's packed, this arena. We are down here at the Doctor and the DJ retreat. Actually, you may have heard us talking about it, and now we're actually here hanging out in Palm Springs. We made the right decision. I will say that too. The weather has been absolutely gorgeous. It's been good to get out of Seattle. We're proponents of getting out of town and getting some new perspective, and that's what we've been doing here in Palm Springs. And just a reminder, there's a lot of places to sign up and to follow us, thedoctorandthedj.com, at thedoctorandthedj on Instagram. Make sure you're following, signing up for our list. You get all this information right away, so we appreciate that. And we broadcast this live on YouTube, which we're doing on our YouTube channel right now. Just find us at The Doctor and the DJ if you ever want to stream this live. And then, of course, this launches as well as our podcast where you might be listening right now. But it is good to be here with you, Amy. And I will say, for anyone who can see us, we are wearing matching shirts. We have hit that stage of our midlife relationship where we have matching shirts. And these are the debut of these T-shirts, by the way, as well.
What do they say, John, for the people who are not watching?
Yes, music saved my life. I often say that music saved my life a number of times through the years. When I was younger, and I was in the biggest bit of depression I've ever had as a teenager, my brother sent me mixed tapes, sent me a Pixies tape. And I put that in, and I remember thinking, and I've told this story before, but it made me wake up every day to make sure I found music discovery. That the next day, maybe I would find the next band and the next band and the next band. And I did. You know, it wasn't every day. That would be a hell of a run you'd be on if every day you discovered a band. But, you know, that next day would be Love and Rockets. And then a few days later, it'd be Screaming Trees. And then a few days later, it'd be something else. So it gave me a reason to live. And then going to shows gave me even more reason to live, because why would I leave this world that has this beauty in it, where I can stage dive and watch music? And so anyway, that's where the phrase music saved my life. But getting back to the matching shirts, of course, the most important part of this is the look Amy gave me when I put my T-shirt on to match her. I got such sexy eyes that I was like, is this what does it for you? Is what I asked. Like, I've known you a while, and
It does now, right? Like,
and as we're down here at the retreat, Amy, I just wanted to ask, like, we're into this now.
yes.
We're having serious conversations and discussing, you know, some big topics. Is there anything that jumped out already 24 hours into this retreat? Just, you know, and part of our podcast as we talk about these things that just jumped out at you.
Yes. I mean, number one, always try to wear matching T-shirts.
Got it.
No, I love it. It's like my secret. It makes me happy because it makes me, it's like I'm playing a joke on John, but like a loving joke, where his response every time I like surprise, sneak attack, match him is the best.
Yeah.
And it creates a sense of laughter and joy, and he's a good sport. But anyway, we're now.
Well, when we've been on walks around our neighborhood,
Yeah.
you know, the pandemic walks have started, and I will turn 10 or 20 minutes and I'll be like, what the fuck? Are you wearing the same? Oh, man. And she knew the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
she had changed into something that matched me. So that's where we are.
And music did save my life too.
Yep.
I've told this story before, but I grew up Mormon, and I would be sent to these Mormon sleepaway camps where they like double down on the religious part and training for you and your role as a woman in society, which I was not into. And I had those yellow sport Walkman, you know, the sport Walkman, okay? Because I was like hiking and stuff. I needed the sport Walkman. And I'd be listening to like NWA and like Eazy-E, and like I'd be on this Mormon retreat. So music saved my life too. Anyways, yes, the retreat, what sticks out as like the number one thing is how important it is to extract yourself from your daily routine and surround yourself with other like-minded people to have conversations that matter. That's the biggest thing. And just let's ask our audience. Would y'all agree?
You all did it, so I hope.
Wait, one more time. Do you all agree?
Good job.
They're still having like a little bit of a hangover from the workshop we did.
Yeah, I am. I've been brought to tears only 3 times so far, so we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We talked about music healing and live shows, and I do want to segue this with our guests from last podcast. Shayna Shepherd was with us. We've had a lot of response from that interview where we learned Shayna's friend Elijah died, and we were present at his death, his murder, next to our bar, Life on Mars, and we did not know that they were connected, and we booked Shayna on the spot. I just want to update everyone. She will be playing Death and Music. She will be singing a song called Elijah. We have secured a piano. Mike McCready just said yes to perform with others as well, so we're pretty excited about the lineup.
Music. November 12th.
November 12th. So I wanted to give you an update on that because we had a lot of people asking. I had a few people ask me, did you really book her? I'm like, yes. And one of the things that she brought up was when we were talking that last interview was teaching adults to sing and getting their inner voices and not giving up, on your creativity. That's something we've been talking about down here as well. And around that same time at that interview, then Amy was in California, and we had just gone to the Postal Service and Death Cab show in Seattle, the Climate Pledge shows, which I know some of you were at, and they were incredible. And who did we see on stage but our old friend, and I don't mean old, I mean we've known you a long time. Jen Wood was up on stage, and my entire family knows Jen and cheered from the Sub Pop section in which we sat. And we wanted to welcome Jen Wood here to the podcast. So scoot on over. She's been sitting there. Come on over from backstage.
Hello, hello.
So we saw you up on stage, and the amount of joy and happiness that we saw on stage with our friends, that we've seen so many times. And I've never seen them. I shouldn't say that. There was just a lot of joy on stage. It definitely translated.
Yeah.
And then Amy got a chance with Henry to go down to Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, it was so awesome
And
to
said
see.
the shows were good. And that was right around the time we're like, I think Jen lives down here. We should invite her by. So we did, and here you are.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Now we should talk about where we first met you too.
Yeah.
You were our oldest son's music teacher, first music teacher.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to know you, and they love you.
Yay.
And for Arlie, our oldest, to see you up on stage, I think was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah. Great student. He's a great student.
Oh,
I miss that kid.
Well, he went right into guitar too.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and he's playing a lot of guitar, and then our youngest as well as in doing drums.
He told me in piano lessons that he wanted to play guitar.
Good, yeah.
But that he was supposed to learn piano first.
Yeah.
Per his mother.
Right, which I hear this a lot with my students' parents. They say, we want you to learn piano first, and then we'll graduate you to the next instrument. So that's cool. Good to hear.
So tell us how, we know you're on the record. You're on the Postal Service record, clearly.
Yeah.
The tour, when it was announced, this anniversary tour, did the band reach out right away? Did it happen over time? Like, when did you find out or when were you asked?
Yeah, so, quick little backstory. I went to see Death Cab for Cutie play with Yola Tango at the Greek Theater in LA. And they got me backstage passes and great seats, and I had a blast. I brought a friend. I sang along the entire show. And then when I sent Ben a thank you email, he said, hey, by the way, there's this secret possible thing underway with the Postal Service, but I can't talk about it. I can't tell you yet. And so he just kind of hinted that there might be a tour. And then I got an email later on that said, okay, yeah, we want you to come sing the show in LA. And I was like, awesome, oh my gosh. And literally when I got that email, I broke down in tears. I just started crying because there's a lot of emotional components and a lot of history between all of us. And we can get into that later, but if you want.
Yes.
So I wrote him back and I was like, oh my gosh, I would be honored. I would love to. I was like, I broke down in tears, I would be overjoyed. And then it led to an email shortly after saying, hey, Jen, I talked to, Jimmy and Jenny, and we just thought, why don't you just join us for the West Coast? And I was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, yes, I would be so psyched. And then other emotions followed that.
Going to the Seattle show must have been you lived in
Yeah, my
Seattle. We should make that very
hometown.
clear.
Yeah. Born and raised in Seattle. I was born at Group Health on Broadway. That was incredible, to just receive so much love and support, on such a massive scale was life changing. Like changed me from the inside out. This whole tour was like an upgrade, like a software update, like something genetically, like internally has really transformed for me, and it's never going to go away. It totally has changed me. So yeah, Seattle was awesome, and it was my birthday on October 7th.
Oh.
So I also felt like, I believe in signs and synchronicities, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to say yes to this tour because my birthday in Seattle, like the universe is like, Jen, you better be there or else. So that was, an amazing birthday gift. Yeah.
Yeah. So John and I talk about this a lot. We talk about being prepared for luck or being prepared for opportunity. And, I honestly believe that our highest self is aligned with goodness. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I honestly believe that whatever you believe in, universe, source, God, whatever, nature, whatever your belief system is, does want the best thing for you. And often we're in our own way. And, we've talked about this on the podcast, but being prepared for luck or being prepared for those opportunities, and that sometimes you're putting in the work, you're putting in the grit, you're working really hard, and you can't see how it's soul fulfilling, or maybe you're not quite reaching those goals. And one of the main reasons we wanted to talk to you was like, I was watching it happen with someone I knew. I was like, holy fuck. We can say that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Like, I know you, and I know how hard you've worked as a songwriter, and I know how hard you've worked as a musician and a teacher, a music teacher, and I know that you're always trying to align those moments, and then this like dropped in your lap and you were ready. You want to talk about like what your life experience is like as a musician and a songwriter, and like how you were ready for that? Because it's not like they asked you and you went, oh shit, I better go practice, I haven't sung in 20 years. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Well, I'm a big believer in personal growth, healing, all of the things. So, since 2017, I've been on a massive healing journey. I've been doing the work. I do affirmations every day. I meditate every day. So I've been literally changing my thoughts, changing the way I live. So I've been preparing, like you said, I love how you said that, being prepared for the opportunity, being prepared for luck. So when this did just drop out of the sky, I felt totally ready, but also totally freaked out. It actually stirred up so much for me. So much fear came up, a lot of self-worth issues, this imposter syndrome. Honestly, it kind of shredded me up again. I was like, oh no, like I still have all of these wounds and all the traumas and the things that I've survived. I've survived abusive relationships. I've had to overcome a lot of stuff. And then to say, yes, I'm ready, and then be like, whoa, maybe not. And had a moment of like, why did I say yes? Can I do this? I don't know if I can do this. This is really freaking scary. Like to be seen. So for me as a songwriter and a musician, I tend to feel safer not being seen. And my whole journey has been, how do I use my voice? How do I find the courage to speak up and tell my truth? And I actually had a conversation with Ben about this because I was like, I'm kind of freaked out about being in the spotlight. There's some people from my past, some men that I do not want to see. Like abusers that I was like really freaked out to see, and I get emotional because I'm like, it was really scary. So, yeah. Yeah, it's really scary to just be seen like that.
Yeah. So how many of us don't want to be seen? Yeah. And yet it's our life's purpose to bring our gifts and our talents to the world, and the only way we get to share them is to be seen. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, and yet it's the biggest fear. Like, what's going to happen if I'm seen?
Jen, can I ask?
Yeah.
So that's built up.
Yeah.
You're dealing with that, and then you walk out on stage.
Yeah.
I don't know which show was the first show you walked.
Friday the 6th.
Oh, that
Was
the
it?
show we were at.
Oh, okay.
my gosh, you
Okay,
saw the
then I
first-
do know what happened. Jen, the joy that the crowd had for what was happening was you. You represented everyone's joy. You came out. They were all happy. They
Right.
were all excited.
Yeah, yeah,
God,
yeah.
they look great. They were happy. Ben has so much energy on stage, more than I've ever seen it, you know, and it's amazing. But you had joy, genuine joy. So what was that moment then with these
Yeah.
very understandable fears?
Yeah.
And that crowd was so happy. And you're one of us. You were
Yeah.
like a lot of people in that audience knew who you
Yeah,
were.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what did that feel like at that
Yeah.
moment? Did it make it worth it in that moment? or-
Absolutely made it worth it. I mean, I literally, I was not nervous at all. The nerves were gone. I literally, the joy and the light that I felt within myself and everyone that was watching, I just felt elevated. I literally felt like I was floating on a cloud, and joy is the perfect word. It was pure joy and so much light and just gratitude and fun, like energy. Um, it was, yeah, it was incredible. Again, I just keep saying life changing.
Yeah.
And absolutely joyful. And all of the fears, the insecurities, they were completely gone. I had no fear at all.
And
I literally was so in alignment. I was such in alignment with my calling that I was like, I belong here. I really, like, I belong here. This is wild. I never thought that I could be in front of 20,000 people and feel at home. I was like, this is surprising to me. When you do those things and you shock yourself, you're like, I didn't think I could do that. But in the whole tour, every show just got better. It was like, you're at home. This is where you belong. And yeah, crazy.
So let's talk a little bit about what you said earlier about seeing yourself as a musician as something to kind of almost be secretive about or kind of hide. And because I relate to that, I am total closet musician. My piano's literally in a closet.
She's amazing. She's a better pianist than me, hands down. So amazing.
But and you may have heard me talk about this on the podcast before, but I allowed certain people in my life to tell me I wasn't good enough, and my mistake was believing them. Right? And so I've been on my own healing journey with that. Like, no, I am. Like, Shayna Shepherd's not going to teach me voice lessons, so it's going to be awesome. But anyways.
That's
amazing.
Have we confirmed that? Is that
Yeah,
it?
she's And, I mentioned it to my son's drum teacher, and he's like, why don't you come play with us on Friday nights? I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, just come play. So, you actually just have to say the words and then show up. And honestly, people are so much more forgiving than we think. And some of our fears or some of what's blocking us is really just ourselves.
Yeah.
And so can you say more about that journey for you as a musician, going from sort of this secretive like songwriter and then having a band and then retreating and then like doing a thing and then retreating to now this last
Yeah,
tour, this
right,
moment?
right. I mean, absolutely. It's been a process of undoing, basically, yeah, like you said, not listening to what other people had told me, like, oh, you're not good enough, you're never going to go far, or, just keep it as a side project or a hobby and, get a real job or, you know, uh, you know, having people criticize me because I'm a self-taught guitar player, and they're like, well, don't you know any music theory? And at the time I didn't. Don't you know how to read music? No. Well, then why do you think you are allowed to do this? Having people tell me that, I shouldn't be making music because I can't tell you all the chords that I'm playing, and so that was, it's just been this process of like doing the work, trying to, correct those ways of thinking, not giving my power away to those people. And then, I would make an album and then I would sabotage it and then retreat. And then I'd be like, okay, I'll try it again. And then retreat. So that's my journey has been a lot of that. Like, okay, I'm going to try it. Okay, bye. I'm gone. I'll try it again. Bye. I'll never forget there was an album that I recorded called Traveling Through Roots in the early 2000s. And I worked my ass off on this album. I poured everything into it. And I'm honestly like, it's one of the albums I'm most proud of as a guitarist because I stepped up my game big time guitar playing wise. And anyways, by the time I got the masters sent to me, I didn't want to open it. I wanted to burn it. I saw the FedEx package and I hate it. I was just like, honestly, like feelings of like hate and like just sabotaging of like not worth it, not worthy of it. I wanted to bury that album. I wanted nobody to ever hear it.
Who was the first person to tell you you weren't good enough?
I don't want to say names.
But can you describe them without a name?
I mean, I think, yeah, I probably don't want to go too far into that, but, people that I knew, people that I grew up with who just made comments. All it takes is like somebody making a comment, like an adult to a child, and they don't realize sometimes what they're saying. They're dream crushing.
Yes.
So,
But it was an adult and you were a child.
yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to say who it was.
Right.
A lot of what we've been talking about at this retreat is our inherited paradigm. And it's not our fault because when we're super young and impressionable, like before we're 8 years old, like 8 and below, we're believing everything people say around us. And so it's really important to kind of take stock of who those adults were and what was said to you so that you can understand your paradigm, because then that just comes back over and over. And then it's like we spend our whole lives trying to write a new script for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the writing the new script is, I'm all about that. I actually use that same term as like, I'm writing a new script, I'm telling a new story. I'm choosing to not tell the old stories. I'm choosing to not be in somebody else's frame, some other person of authority who, you know what I mean? Like that detaching and be like, wait a minute, I'm taking my power back. Like, this is my story. I can change it at any point. You can decide tomorrow, I want to live a different life. All it just takes is saying yes, right? Say yes, and then the rest will follow.
And you're teaching music.
And I'm
to
teaching
kids.
music.
And so, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the perfect place for you to be.
It is.
Where when you talk to some adult who's playing music, they're going to look back on a teacher and you're going to be the answer to the question, who encouraged you?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's very healing for me. I mean, teaching just sort of organically was brought to me. Aaron from Mode Music Studios recruited me. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know how to really, I had like 1 year of music college like experience. And she was like, I don't care, Jen. She was like, you've got like 25 years of experience. And just gave me this sense of like self-worth. And yeah, now I get to, be the dream grower for all of my students of all ages and say the things to them that I wish would have been said to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And again, a shout out to Mode Music, by the way. Who
Yeah, big time.
That's where I met Eva Walker.
Eva Walker from the Black Tones.
Yep.
Yes.
And others musicians we know really well.
Yeah.
And their support of musicians, and then those musicians to carry that on to kids, is one of the better businesses and missions that I've ever witnessed. It is pretty magical to see, because you're in there too, and you're just hearing drums banging down the hall and someone singing, and then comes out a musician you recognize from one of the bands.
Exactly.
And I think that's the best experience for them.
Absolutely. I mean, music is therapy. I always say music is free therapy.
Yeah.
And, if your child is having a hard time, get them to play music. I'm a big fan of songwriting, lyric writing for my students too. using their voice, even ones that, they think like, well, I don't want to write my own songs. Well, that's okay. Nobody has to hear it, but what's on your, what are you struggling with? Work through the depression, anxiety, the fears, the self-sabotaging and all that through music. So yeah, I mean, it's
Uh, do you have another? I was going to go back a little bit in time, but if you have another,
I just had one
Yeah.
thing to
Yeah.
say.
Yes.
So I am overtrained in music, right? And I am in fear of playing music. And I think part of it is because of so much training, and because I was in this pedagogy, and because I was trained in music theory, and because I do know all the chords I'm playing and all the bullshit, right? And I'm not saying it's bullshit. I mean, there's some usefulness to the structure of it all. But because I think because I got in my head too much about it. Does that make sense? And then
Absolutely.
because I was tested on it, because I went to music school. So then I'm either passing and failing in music. Doesn't that seem ridiculous? And because I had all these experiences of like not good enough or passing or failing or being graded because I went to music school. And I actually think that hurt me more than it helped me, to be honest.
Right.
And I mean, I had a lot of great experience and whatnot, but I love this conversation so much because you and I both have this similar weird, like, we're like, we go and we low with music, and then you're like, and I wasn't even trained, and so that was my insecurity. And I'm like, I am way the fuck overtrained, and that is my insecurity because I do one thing, and I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't do it just right.
Right. Yeah.
And instead of just letting go.
Right. It's amazing that we can share that commonality, but from two opposites.
Same coin, different sides.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and isn't there an issue with people who've just never done it, and so they can't? I always think like, why is the cutoff for painting or singing or any? What is there an age? I didn't get the memo. Like, okay, at this age, you can't ever
Right.
try singing.
Right.
You blew it. You didn't do it as a young person.
You're 30, no more
You
for
don't.
you.
You didn't. Like, how many paintings haven't been painted? How many songs haven't been written? How many? It drives me crazy to think that. And then, we teach in our family like you don't criticize art. It doesn't matter what it is, music, art. You will never.
Or someone's dancing at
Dancing.
concerts.
Oh yeah, I taught that. We went the very first show. By the way, don't take your kids to the Flaming Lips for their first show. And I'm going to tell you why. Not because it was offensive, because it was, but because no other show will ever match up to that show for the rest of their lives. Yeah, this fuck yeah Seattle balloons, and there's animals running around. And anyway, when we got there, I said, listen, kids, you're going to see somebody at some point, because we're in the back, kind of keeping the kids, so they could see. You're going to see someone dancing by themselves, and they're going to be going nuts. And they're going to be by themselves. And then what you're going to see a few minutes later is someone's going to join them. It's going to be very cool when they find each other. And they're like, okay. And I said, but you never make fun of that person. About a few minutes into the song, dancing guy is going to town back there. The kids are looking, they're watching this, and they're watching the show. And then another guy or woman, I don't remember which, came walking up, and then they start dancing, and they see each other and start doing this. I said, how did you know that? I go, experience, son. I've been to so many shows, and they're having more fun than anyone else in this arena who is not dancing. And so our kids were just saw joy and dancing and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it
Yep.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And so we tell them, don't make fun of dancing, don't make fun of art, don't make fun of music. Somebody loves that music.
Yeah.
And so for me, you won't find me anywhere criticizing music, and I'm in a position to do that. I just don't play it necessarily if it's not for me.
Right.
But
right,
somebody
right.
loves it, and that's what we tell our kids. And
Yeah.
I just wish we could get, again, whatever was told to us. Like I was told by an art teacher when I was that age, how just they kind of ridiculed my effort. And I was like, actually, I put a lot of effort into this. This sucks, and I'm never doing this again. And my oldest son is an amazing artist, and because I don't think he's run into that yet. And I hope when he does, he's able to do something with it. So I just don't understand why we have this cutoff for anything,
Yeah.
and it drives me crazy. Anyway, I was going to go back. I wanted to go back to you originally being on the Pulse. We should take a step back and be like, well, how did that happen? I mean, I remember those days. I remember the year it came out and when that record was sort of happening. But how did you end up on it, I guess is the question.
Well, it's interesting. Unbeknownst to me, Ben had been a fan of my music before I met him. So he was aware probably of Tattletale or my solo stuff. And, Nick and them, they had known who I was before I knew them. So I think it started just in a very organic Seattle, like underground music scene way, where just word of mouth. Like Death Cab asked me to play a show with them at the Beatbox with the Western State Hurricanes.
Oh, nice bill.
Sweet.
Oh,
And and we had a great show. We all got along. It was like, okay, we're buddies from now on. And then I got, an email from Ben saying, hey, I'm doing this side project. I'd love for you to sing on the song. I'm going to send you a CD. Let me know if you're interested. And so, I got the CD mailed to me and I put it in my CD player. And I was like, I fucking love this. I literally, the volume was like 0 to 11. I just like cranked it up. And I was completely shocked. I was so surprised. I had no idea that he like listened to my music or any of that. So yeah.
and you couldn't have had, like, he'll even tell you this, have any idea how big that record was going to be.
No.
Too. That's the other. Because it's a side project. This is Ben from Death Cab. He's sending these tapes off.
Yeah,
And they're going
back and forth to Jimmy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such it's like winning the lotto. I mean, the chances are just what's the 0.001% or something. I don't know. It completely mystifies all of us to this day. I mean, Ben says it on stage. He's just we never thought that this album would go just big time like this. I mean, it's going to be double platinum now. It's just wild. I mean, you just never know. But it I mean, bringing back the word joy, joyfulness and fun and lightheartedness and happiness. I mean, that album, there's an energy that exists on those songs. It feels very light. It feels like lightness and like a bubbly, percolating, sparkly sense of wonder and hope and so I think that was the essence of it, and that's why it took off, is because people are hungry for that. We need that in this world. We need that kind of light, and that album is full of light.
As were all of your outfits on stage.
Right? I know. I loved.
Were you excited about the white?
Yeah. Well, at first I was like, okay, like, do I need to bring a Tide stain pen?
Yeah. I would have been like,
Yeah, oh my God.
coffee stains
Yeah.
down
It
me
was
every
just
day.
this thing of like, don't mess up the white dress and the white shoes and
Yeah.
everything. And it's funny.
You had to have someone doing your dry cleaning, right?
No.
Serious.
So
You were keeping it all clean yourself?
I did because I
Wow,
only.
I'm impressed. Hold on. We have to stop right here. If a band is going on tour and can keep their outfits that white, wow, that is
You're
that is
adults.
some work ethic right there. Okay, I just assume there's people running around
Yeah.
keeping it all
Yeah,
clean.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I think the wearing white was Ben's vision to support light, and light is the highest frequency. It represents all colors of the spectrum. So yeah.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. You are, you're down here, right?
Yes, I am.
Why? What did you?
Sunshine.
I know it's kind of random.
I could answer it for you by
What?
looking outside, but I'd rather you answer. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to get deep into it,
Sure,
but
sure.
but like, what brought you down here? I'm just curious.
Well, a couple things. So my mom and her partner, they have been snowbirds. So they had a place in Seattle and then they had a place in Palm Springs. So we would come here for holidays. No, let me back up. Actually, let's rewind this. So I was living in Seattle, 2017, and I got asked to sing for a band out of LA called This White Light, and it was a metal.
Remember this.
Like rock band. Think like Led Zeppelin meets
Yes.
Heart meets Slint meets whatever they're into, right? So they were like, "Hey, we're looking for a female vocalist." And I was like, I've never done music like this before, but part of my journey is stepping outside of my comfort zone, trying new things. I'm just a big believer of you don't know until you try. So I was like, I'm just going to try. And I ended up really loving it. It was very cathartic because the music was so like warrior woman, like Xena, the warrior princess. It was just like he drew a sword on the CD, a big sword. And he was like, Jen, I'm giving you this sword. And and I was going through a really painful divorce. And then I was being handed this sword of like, Jen, you will be the phoenix from the ashes, Greg Anderson, from Sun-O, who I'm sure you know who he is. And so I started going back and forth to LA a bunch, and then we got an opportunity to record with Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age and Mark Rankin, who worked with Adele on Rolling in the Deep. No big deal. No big. I was like, oh my god, oh my god. And so and then I had come back from, I did a yoga meditation retreat in Italy, all women as part of my healing journey. So the combination of being in this white light, coming back from a healing yoga meditation experience made me realize that I needed to get the fuck out of Seattle, and I needed to move. I needed to take the leap and be in the band, and I needed to just start over. I realized that too much painful stuff had been going on in Seattle that I really just needed a chance. I needed to give myself a chance to start fresh. So yeah, I moved here with the intention of moving to LA, realized I don't really want to live in LA. That's crazy. I don't want to live in that like urban madness, hustle, grind culture. And then I just kind of plopped myself here. Well, and then kind of just became a little desert rat, as they say. Now I'm like, this to me is chilly. This weather, 83 to go. I have a hoodie and everything. So that's a long story. And then the band, we had a fun run. It was like a year. We did some recordings. We did a little mini tour. And then, we broke up, just like most bands do eventually.
I always like that. I always get questions like that. Like, oh, why'd they break up? I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
They all break up.
They all do.
They're not all the Stones and Radiohead.
Right, exactly. Or
they're-
Death Cab.
Or Death Cab. Yeah, they just get stronger.
Yeah.
Someone said that to me. They're like, watching Death Cab just kind of bothers me. I said, why? I said, they seem to get stronger and younger. I'm like, yeah, it is a little disconcerting.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
Well, they're
true.
taking care of themselves.
Yes, they are.
It is very reflective in how they're living their lives and how they're touring and how they're
Yes.
taking care of themselves and
Yes.
their community. And you
Yep.
see it on stage. Like
Yeah.
I said, I've seen
Yeah.
more energy
Yeah,
band now than I ever saw in the past.
I
even.
agree.
Yeah.
Their shows have gotten better.
Yeah.
At the Greek Theater, I remember seeing them, before the tour and stuff, and I was just blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, how are they getting better? But like you said, they're taking better care of
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
So they're feeding themselves, they're nurturing their spirits, their minds, their bodies, the running, the healthy lifestyle choices, whatever healing modalities they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when when you're in a band, your time is limited. And they're taking full advantage of that, thank God. But
Yeah.
I don't know if their time is limited. I think they can keep going as long as they want to.
Yeah, they'll probably be going until they're like
Yeah,
70s.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
it's going to
see
be a
that.
Mick Jagger situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just Ben, a.k.a. Mick. Might have to call him Mick now.
Jen, you're making new music too.
Yes,
I
I
want to mention
am.
that. I'm
Yes,
hoping we can put the song or part of the song on our podcast.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
sample
See,
of it.
I was thinking we could do a sample
Okay,
of it.
there we go.
Yes.
We're confirming now.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a sample at the end of this podcast of your song. And tell me about it.
Yeah. So this is a song I actually started writing back in 2017. So this has been, a long process. And then I joined up with my good friend Chen. We've been working on the song. It's called Younger for about a year and a half. It's been a very slow journey, a slow process. And I've been kind of okay with that. I think, I get stressed out if I try to rush myself musically. And I'm like, then the stuff kicks in. The negative thoughts kick in. So it's been a nice slow process, but I'm doing something different. I have two different album concepts, but I'm going in ironically before the Postal Service tour, I'm going in a like electronic dance pop kind of sad bops, as like Jen Champion likes to say. So it's gonna, I'm full of curveballs. I feel like I tend to surprise people. I've played it for friends. Response has been good. One friend though was like, I just didn't expect that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So
You're like, I just didn't expect that answer from you.
right. So
Noted.
yeah. So
Friends who stay, friends who go.
yeah. It was understandable though. She's actually one of my bestest friends. So in her defense, she listens to a lot of metal. A lot of metal.
So she was
punk.
psyched about your last project.
Yeah. Oh my.
was
She
like,
was at every show.
Oh, front row.
Because she lives in
yeah.
Pasadena. Oh, front. She
Yeah.
was like, "That's
Finally,
my best
Jen,
friend."
yeah.
Finally, no,
Finally,
yeah.
she's come around.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got metal friends. Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, of course she's not gonna really like be psyched about my like,
Of course.
upbeat, dancey kind of song. But yeah, and it's funny because I even was like starting to sabotage this song. I was like, no, I just was like, I don't really need to get it out there. It's fine. I'm pushing myself. It's getting mixed now by a guy named Alex who Ted was really psyched because he's worked with Zola Jesus,
Mhm.
and I guess that's a. I don't not. She sounds amazing.
I play her a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Ted. I don't know if you know Ted Chen. I feel like you guys
I
should
do.
know.
Yeah.
You do.
I do know that
Ted
name, yes.
Chen,
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sylvia's sister. So yeah, he lives in California with his wife now. So they're
So,
California.
You're around good people,
Yes, I
making
am.
music you want to make,
Very grateful. Yes.
not backing out of it.
Not backing out of it. Nobody's gonna let me back out of it.
Oh,
So
good.
thank you for
Good.
all of you who.
And
don't
you
let me
brought
back out of it.
absolute joy to the stage,
Thank
and
you.
know that, and
Thank you.
made my family proud to know you.
Yay.
It was,
Yeah, we're all very
it was
excited.
if you heard
I'm very
anyone to the
proud.
right just going, that was us.
I did hear
That
it.
was us.
I
That
did. I
was-
heard you
Yeah,
guys.
we were very excited.
I heard it. Yeah, it was
And
amazing.
Arlie, who's known you since he was very little, he's just like, we didn't tell him. We had heard Bertie had told us that you were going to be on stage, but he's like, is that Jen? And we said, yeah. And he, by the way, was singing along to
Oh.
every song. I had no idea. My son
Oh
knew
my
every word to every Postal Service song. I know. So we've come full circle.
Our
so sweet.
kids are like secretly listening to music and doing things that we don't realize we're influencing. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
Yeah, it's like they don't want to
And-
tell us that it's actually
Yeah,
working.
and even Henry, he has a keyboard in his room.
Yeah.
Because I was teaching him piano during the pandemic.
Yeah,
But then he decided he wanted to play drums and rebel against me.
Yeah, that-
So he was
yeah.
like not playing piano because mom wants me to, right? And then lately he's been down there playing piano.
dude, I went down and
And
heard
he's been
White
like kind of
Stripes the other day.
secretly learning, and he's been playing White
Dun,
Stripes.
dun,
Yeah,
dun,
he's
dun,
been
dun,
playing
like-
Seven Nation Army. I'm like,
like,
what
is
the
Seven
fuck?
Nation Army coming out of someone's room? And then Arlie down the way is playing John Prine songs. I'm like,
Wow.
And we're like in shock. We're like,
We're
wait
not
a
that good at
second,
parents.
Wait a second.
there's no way.
Somehow we're having an influence, and we
Well,
don't know if it's
love it.
happening by
Here-
osmosis or what.
Here's
but
what we're doing. We're surrounding them around. We're surrounding them with people who love music, teach music, are excited about music. So for them, it's a matter of fact to do music.
Yeah.
Arlie did, by the way, a band camp, and he actually did in New York and was sang a Susie and the Banshee song, and it was just like,
And he's
what
like,
is-
I love singing. I'm like, what?
he loves singing.
He loves.
And like, how do
singing.
you? And then I thought, how do you even sing? Like, how does it happen? And then I realized, oh my God, I can't believe that I just said that out loud. And I do this for a living.
He
Yeah,
covered. Wait.
Susie and Banshees. I think they did Cities and Dust or
Oh my
Peekaboo. I
gosh.
can't remember what.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to search this. I have.
Yeah,
to
I will find the video.
Find the
from
video
him.
and
Yeah.
send it
Yes.
to me.
Yeah, because
I
you had
need
an
to see that.
impact. You had a huge impact. Yeah.
I'm. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to just help change people's lives through
Good.
music, and yeah, it was really. I mean, yeah, Arlie is an incredible human, and watching. I mean, I remember lessons with him. You know, he started out with not a lot of confidence, and by
Yeah.
the time I moved to California, he was confident.
It's
He could-
amazing to
yeah,
see.
so-
Music does that.
It
Music
does.
gives you that confidence, and you find your tribe, and you find your people.
Yep.
and-
Yep.
Music saves
Oh
lives.
yeah, there it is.
Right.
Now we come full circle.
Matching
Yeah.
t-shirts. See, we came back to the matching
Yes.
t-shirts.
Well, we want to thank you for taking the time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
It's an honor.
And by the way, after this, we're gonna all go play pickleball. And if you had come down here with us, you
I-
would have got to play pickleball with Jen, who apparently even has pickleball shoes. This
I
is
do.
how like
Yes.
she just told me she has pickleball shoes. I said outdoor and indoor. That was my answer to her. So it's good to see someone as serious, kind
Yes.
of, about that.
Yeah.
So we're
Oh,
gonna
I'm
go
a
to
big
that later.
fan of
Thanks for hanging
pickleball.
out today. That's
You're
gonna be fun.
welcome.
Big
Super
thanks,
fun.
Patrick. Thank you from Runis, who's down here with us and
you.
set us all up.
And thank you to
Hey, look,
our
Izzy,
retreat,
to our retreat.
attendees.
It's
Woo!
amazing. Make sure to follow us again at the Doctor and the DJ to find out more about this. Sign up for our list. We send out emails and keep you updated on all the silly things we're doing like this. And on Instagram, you can always follow along and see us live, and on our YouTube channel as well. Is there anything I'm missing? See us at Death and Music again on November 12th at the Moore Theater. That is a show put on by KEXP, but that Amy and I curate and host. It's going to be a night of talking about grief and having musicians play, and it's going to be the most powerful night of music of the year, as we have proven.
You played Death and Music, didn't you?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
we
we
haven't even
had
brought that
Jen
up,
on
and we've been
Death
talking
Music.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you know,
incredible.
it's,
It was amazing. It was amazing. Be there.
yeah,
You
it
won't
is.
regret it. Be
Yeah,
there.
we aren't going to tell you everything that's happening, but
Yeah.
is there anything else I'm
Yeah.
missing?
Nope. I just really want to thank you from the bottom of my
you.
heart
Yeah.
and give you a big hug. Mm.
Cool. All right, that's it for us from the
All right.
Doctor and the DJ.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.